Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'm your host, Erin Bradley. And if it's your first time here and you are a real estate lover, well, you're in the right place because today I've got Ali Garced with me, who is really, there's no other word than badass. So we're just going to start there. Ali is a former military, has achieved in the military at high levels, went on to get her real estate license in late 2021 and started selling part-time while still serving in the military. And in just 3 years, she closed over 100 transactions as a solo agent, including the time she was working part-time, and has since gone on to build a team of agents of nearly 100 agents in 15 cities in 2 countries. She's a real estate investor. She's the co-host of the Agent Goldmine podcast, and she dedicates a lot of her time to helping real estate agents design businesses they love that fuel an awesome life. And so you can probably imagine, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, why I needed to have Ali on the show with us today. And if you're new here, hopefully you're already hooked because this is going to be an incredible conversation. So with no further ado, Ali, thank you so much for being with us today.
Erin, I am stoked to be here. Thank you for the invite.
It's going to be so fun. So give us a little backstory. It's been a wild ride for you. So talk us through how you found yourself in the real estate space while you were still serving in the military, and really just what's unfolded for you in such a short period of time.
I started in real estate with investing, although my very, very first property that I purchased, I didn't consider it an investment because it was a VA loan. I was stationed in Colorado Springs, and I purchased a condo, used the VA loan, and right after I purchased, I got short notice deployment orders to Afghanistan. So I did 7 months over there. And as I was on my way out, I had to leave like within 25 days. As I was I didn't even get a chance to move into the property. I was like, well, I'm not going to leave this property sitting here for the 7 months while I'm in another country. So I rented it out. And so that's why I say that's how I got my start into real estate in general. That was my very first purchase. I was 26, 2016, in the year 2016. And so then I went to Afghanistan. I started getting rental income. I got a property manager because I hate managing properties. I didn't know that then. I know that now. And so I got a property manager, and that was my first step into it. And that's what I realized, that I could do this more often and maybe even do it once a year, every year. In the military, for those that have served, or for those that haven't served, rather, a lot of times the military, after they deploy you, when you come back, you pretty much move right away to your next duty station. At least that's how my career field was within the Air Force. So I got back from deployment, and within a month or two, I was off to my next duty station in California. I didn't purchase there, but then after California, I went to Tucson, Arizona, which is where I got licensed. But before getting licensed, I bought about like 3 or 4 more properties. And what my wife and I do now is we purchase a property almost every year, and we move into it for the lower interest rate, owner occupied VA loan. My wife was also military. She was a military pilot, Air Force pilot. So between us, we have like 4 VA loans out, and we move in. We maybe fix it up a little bit, but we don't even really have to. We move out and we rent it out. So that's how we have accumulated about 14 units now. And then as I was separating from the military, which by the way, I was a special agent for the military. So what I say is, like, I used to be I went from being a special agent in the military to a real estate agent. And either way, I negotiate all day, every day. And I love it. Like, that was like the one skill that truly transferred very well. And not really just interviewing, but more so just conversational. You get a lot more when people think of special agents in the military, they think, the one solo chair that's uncomfortable to sit on, the one light beaming on top of them, and like towel, just this, not like, pretty hostile environments, which is the opposite of what it actually is, because you get a lot more with honey than you do with vinegar. So our interrogations were very, very friendly. Besides the point. So as I knew that I wanted to leave the military. I did 10 years in. I was a major, and I was miserable. I was unhappy. As cool as it is to say that I didn't get to, that I wasn't I was like cool enough to like not wear the uniform. I had a gun on my hip. We would deploy. It was special agent, federal agent. That's all really cool to say. And it was not cool to do. Toxic work environments, definitely toxic leadership, deployments within 25 days. Like I just had no control over my life. Of course, I knew what I signed up for, sort of. But I knew that I wanted to leave. I could not do the full 20 years to retire. F that. So knowing like I couldn't hold a relationship, because I was constantly moving. I moved every single year, maybe year and a half. It was hard. And so I was like, I know enough to know that I don't want this to be, I don't want the golden handcuffs to get stronger and stronger or tighter and tighter, all for the sake of a pension. And after I did the math some more, I was like, I can start making that amount of money now while be for with being a real estate agent and make way more than a colonel. So I don't have to wait another 10 years to then make colonel and hope that I make colonel. I could start making that amount now working for myself. So my wife was the one who told me to get my real estate agent license. She was like, you would be a good agent. And I always, up until that point, I'd always told her prior to that, I was like, no, I wouldn't. I don't like wearing high heels. I'm not a bimbo. That's what I thought being a real estate agent was just all being like bimbos and selling sunset. I was like, that's not me. Look at me. And then I realized it was KPI, and that's how I found love.
I'm laughing so hard because I'm such a tomboy, and when I first got into the business, I remember trying to fit the mold, working, you're from Colorado, so you probably remember the Denver Tech Center. It's like this industrial park south of Denver downtown, and I used to wear the female suit and the pumps, the high heels, and sit at the big mahogany desk and cold call. I mean, it was awful. I mean, I don't even think a lot of people know that part of my story when I was just like in sheer desperation and I was literally trying to fit the mold. And it was like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. So you're right. We can be our authentic selves and actually create extraordinary results. So, okay, so talk me through it. You get your real estate license, you're in Tucson, you're accumulating properties, and then how did you start selling real estate part-time while you're also in transit all the time? And I know you run a real estate business, a sales business in Tucson, but you're living in Minnesota, I believe. So like talk us through what it means to be location independent and grow a real estate business and how you did it starting out part-time. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, yeah. The location independent is was the most important thing that I was looking for in a brokerage. So after I realized, okay, yes, I will try this real estate agent thing out and see how it works. Then I knew that I couldn't be going into a formal team setting, and I wouldn't be attending any meetings. Nor did I want to do that. I was tired of having to be my butt in a seat because that's what the military life is like. Like you get everyone gets the same pay at the same rank, whether you're working hard or whether you're the dirtbag. You get the same major pay or captain pay or whatever rank you are. So I didn't want that. I wanted to have an uncapped, income based off of my effort. And knowing that I was going to be continuing to travel with the military, at that time I was working counterintelligence with Southcom or the Southern Command. So I was traveling 200 days out of the year. I was gone out of the country to South America, Central America, doing our stuff there. And so knowing that that was the case, I knew that choosing the right brokerage was really important to me. So that's why I ended up choosing the brokerage that I did because I didn't have to physically go anywhere. In fact, there was no one even around me from my crew. I joined a crew that was at the time just out in North Carolina. And now we're in a bunch of different countries. But I needed the checklist, like just tell me what to do, tell me how to do it, and I'll do it. I don't need anybody shoulder to shoulder. I don't need that.
You're traveling and if I understand correctly, did you plug into Shelby Osborne's team at that time?
Yep, Shelby Osborne at the time, Shelby Johnson now, 5 pillars. And so yeah, that's with EXP
Okay.
Realty.
And for the listeners, Shelby was a guest on the podcast many years ago, actually twice, I believe, and she's incredible as well. So I think and that's how I got connected to Ali here. So basically, you talked about KPIs. Can you give us just a quick rundown off the top of your head of some of the basic KPIs, key performance indicators that were instrumental in your ability to develop a business while not even in the same geographic location? Because I'm sure that people are listening are like, what are you talking about? This is like unreal.
Yeah, yeah. The most important number that I started out with, and actually I still have this number, is 6 conversations a day with somebody, anybody. Well, not anybody, not my family, not my spouse, uh, and not other vendor partners, like with a potential client. So 6 conversations a day with a potential client every single day. That was it. I didn't go to bed until I had 6 conversations. While I was still doing this part time, because I was still active duty, Air Force major, when I was still military, it was pretty easy to get the 6 conversations. We were face to face. We were in the office, despite it being around the late COVID timeframe. So that was pretty easy. But after I separated from the military, which even though I was so excited to leave, I was nervous. I want to harp on that for a little bit. I had an overlap of about 8 months of me being a real estate agent, and I was still a special agent. And so I pretty much told my wife, I was like, I'm going to be working my butt off for the next 8 months because I want to see if this works. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to be pivoting and doing something else. I don't know what. I guess maybe joining the FBI like everyone else did. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want anything to do with federal law enforcement anymore. I was so tired. So I was like, but I'm going to have to. So bear with me and please don't leave me as I work my ass off. So during the 8 months at the time in the military, I was making $120,000 as a major. And I was like, that was my number. If I could just even come close to that, 80K, I'll take 80K. I made $120,000 my first 7 months of me being a real estate agent. And that's how much I was making an entire year, working a lot of hours and traveling 200 days out of the year in the military. And after that, I was like, I cannot wait to leave. Like, the military is getting in my way of making more money. But by the time it came to actually leave, I still got nervous. I see the pay, like, I'm looking at my bank account. I see how much I have. I'm like, the black and white should be screaming to me, Ali, leave. Like, you're good. But the emotional part, I'm like, wow, what if, what if something happens? So that's going to be hard regardless of anybody going from part-time to full-time real estate agent. So after I did that, I still stuck to my 6 conversations a day, going back to the KPI question. That's like my number one. And then also now that I've started more so generating leads from YouTube, which I love, I realize it's almost like depends on which channel I'm talking about, but for client facing, for buyers and sellers, mainly buyers, for every 2 videos I put out, I have one closing. But the way that YouTube works is the longer your videos stay online, the better it's going to perform overall. So in the last 2 years of me having YouTube channel, if I have one closing for every 2 videos, how fast can I make 2 videos? It's just how it's pretty freaking fast now that I have my systems in place. And that's just my 2 year mark. So in 2 years from now, it's going to be better numbers, better performing numbers because YouTube is evergreen. Unlike short form content, which if you don't catch them that day on this as they're scrolling, and if you don't catch them on a day that they're actually open to buying real estate, it's gone. It's kind of a waste of time. So I'm like all in on YouTube.
Okay, I did not know the conversation was going to go this direction. I didn't know this piece of the story. So can we talk about this and unpack it a little bit further and share with us what kind of content are you sharing? What kind of what length of video? What frequency of posting? Like, give us a little behind the scenes on the strategy because that's crazy awesome. And I'm hugely passionate about simplifying success and getting more bang for your buck. And I know personally that when I started the podcast and I started ripping the band-aid off with video, I saw exponential growth instantly. And so many people are still on the fence and it blows my mind. So can we shake this up a little bit, please?
100%. Yes. Okay. So I have 2 channels. And well, first of all, the number one rule with YouTube is never share your link ever. Have YouTube work on its own to push your stuff out organically because it will do that. It's how YouTube gets paid, by pushing videos out to audience members that they can then throw ads on top of and make money that way. So YouTube wants to push your stuff out. Unlike Instagram or TikTok, where if your stuff isn't good, it's not going to be pushed out. I mean, kind of the same applies to YouTube, but overall, so I have one channel for helping real estate agents, which is actually where I spend more time on because I love that part. I help real estate agents go from making 100K to 200K. Been there, done that. I'm not the person to go to if you are just now thinking about getting your real estate license. That wouldn't be me. So that's my one channel. The other channel is for mainly buyers. I'll start with the buyer stuff. With the Tucson channel, I have any keywords related to Tucson, but sticking to real estate because I do not want to become the channel that is the news, like any newsworthy, like a motorcycle crash or this new restaurant is open. I don't want people to come to my channel for that. I want them to come for interest rates, for VA loans, because that's what I specialize in. 99% of my clients are active duty military, and that's what I know and I'm good at. For housing prices, days on market, but not so much stats. I realize that when clients book a call with me, I have in my Calendly, when they book a call on my Calendly, the last question is, why me? Like, why are you booking a call with me? As opposed to any other agent. They always say my personality. So whether or not you are boring, loud, quiet, nerdy, funny, anything, they will book a call with you in your sleep because of you. So whoever you are, be even more of that. That's on both sides for the agent stuff and the Tucson channel. So for the agent stuff, and the reason I even put videos out on YouTube for agents is because revenue share pays super well. Revenue share, like we were talking, I was telling you before we even recorded, it pays 4 times the amount that all of my rental properties do combined. And I've been investing in real estate since 2016. Like it doesn't even compare, and I love it. I put YouTube videos out. I've hired somebody, multiple people to edit my videos because I will not learn editing, nor do I even want to. I hire a separate person for thumbnail creations because that's a separate skill set. I didn't realize that in the beginning. That is a completely separate skill set. And then once I get them both back, then I'll upload tags, titles, description. Usually it's just copy and paste with like a little bit of a changing in the description for more keywords about what that specific video is about. But as far as length of videos, mine tend to be 10 to 15 minutes long, sometimes even for the Tucson channel, sometimes even 20 to 25 minutes if I'm doing a screen share of a map overview. Because that's all I can do now, being that I'm not in Tucson anymore, is sharing my screen and having B-roll of Tucson, which I took a lot of. Even if you're not in the city that you're working in, you can always pay someone to, like a professional videographer, or even somebody just to get an iPhone footage of this intersection or this club or whatever, this neighborhood. So I have a lot of B-roll. It's always talking head, me sitting down in front of the camera, and I do a lot of map views. So because YouTube will mainly attract to my channel, they'll mainly attract people that are not yet living in Arizona. So they have no idea where Tucson is in relation to Mexico or Phoenix or anything like that. So I tell them the basics. And I tell them, I think what something that works for me, an advantage, despite me not being a Tucson native, is I say, I, just like you, moved here from out of state. So I also didn't know where the nearest Costco was. I also didn't know where XYZ was. And it's just being a tour guide for them while sharing your google.maps.com website. And it's so easy. It's like, so that's a lot of videos, map tours. There's also neighborhood comparisons, Tucson. Do you want to live in Oro Valley versus Saudita? Saudita versus Vale, Arizona versus XYZ. And then it's just going on and on about the different neighborhoods there. Those hit though, because people are looking at those searches.
Okay, I have so many questions. I mean, this might be one of our longest podcast interviews because I have so many questions. First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that you are sort of glazing over the extent to which you invest in your systems and your ability to rattle off those key performance indicators. And this is something that we talk about all the time inside my coaching community, is that if you're running a business and you don't have systems and you're unwilling to invest in yourself and having the support that you need to do the things that you either aren't good at or don't like, you're not running a business. You're trading hours for dollars indefinitely. So there's a lot of fear there, though, right? Especially in this market. We're recording in 2025. There's obviously been a lot of challenges for many people. And so investing in yourself is scary. And you talked about the fear of leaving your steady paycheck, which we can all relate to. But then the fact that you've been able and willing, I wouldn't say able, you've been willing, you've made decisions here to invest in yourself. How did you come to that so quickly? You've only been in the real estate space now for, less than 4 years. Like, how did you overcome the insecurity of being willing to put all these systems in place and invest in yourself and hire the editors and hire the showing assistants and all of the things?
I think about this often because I get asked this a lot, and I really think that it comes down to laziness. I don't want to learn how to edit. I don't want to learn how to do the paperwork, like the transaction desk. Where do I find the form? How do I click it, drag and drop the initial box? That is bullshit. Like that is what a waste of my time. Like from the very beginning, I have hired a transaction coordinator. I did one transaction by myself and I said, never the F again. It took me 3 hours just to find the paperwork, let alone drag and drop the initial box, the date box, the time box. What am I doing? Like, what a waste. I was getting so mad at myself. I said, never the F again. So that's easy. But I think overall, like, I am so like protective of my time that if I find myself doing something that someone else can do better, faster, and they like it, then it's gone. I'm no longer doing that. I think I was also brought up that way. Growing up, my dad never cut the grass. He was like, why should I cut the grass when I can just hire someone to do it? And so that's kind of like the mentality that I had. I'm like, yeah, when someone else can do it, I'm going to pay them to do it. If they have a whole business around cutting grass, let them do it. They're going to do a better job. So I did that for video editing. I did that for literally everything. I'm almost every single part of my business. And again, like right before we started recording, I'm not perfect. Where I was having a lot of trouble was having like somebody in my operations. There's someone that will like do the tasks, like easy check box, like edit this, add B-roll, add some sound. Like I don't want to call that easy because I think it's very hard, but it's very checkboxy, systematic, I guess. And then there's like other hires that I don't know how to say this without insulting the other group. There's other hires that just require more experience, like business mindset, like
Client
operation.
facing. Yeah, they're gonna touch if they're gonna have any touching of the client experience, right? That when you say
Yeah.
operations
And
from
like,
that perspective, it's a little more intimidating because they're going to be representing you to the client versus just being behind the scenes.
yeah, and more forward thinking instead of just saying, okay, here's my video for me to edit. Here it is. Instead of it's thinking, okay, that Sally's closing on Thursday. Have you gotten her closing gift? Have you, doing the thinking for me, like thinking ahead. So that's where I was held up for 3 years. I have been stuck at a certain amount and I cannot break past it yet. And I just hired a full-time executive assistant. And up until then, I've been trying to weasel my way with getting part-time assistants, and that just has not cut it. If they're part-time, they need more money to survive. So they're going to be moonlighting in other spots. And so it got to the point where my biggest hurdle with that was I don't know if I can justify the full-time pay, even though they're in the Philippines. Like, I don't know if I can justify the full-time pay. But now the way to think about it is translating that to hours saved. I know with this new EA that I have, he has already in 1 week, less than 1 week, one full week of working, he's already saved me 7 hours a week. And what can I do during those 7 hours? That's 2 to 3 more YouTube videos. 2 to 3 more YouTube videos. That is at least one more client. That's at least another 15K. Like it's a no brainer. And I'm paying him Philippine prices. Like why was I so stuck on that before? I have no idea.
Yeah, well, no, you're speaking straight to the heart of it. Is that is where so many of us can relate. I mean, I can still to this day remember palpably the fear. And interestingly enough, when I went and took the leap and retired my license and went all in on, the podcast and speaking and coaching, the very first thing I did before I had generated a single dollar of revenue was invest in a COO, an operations manager, and then eventually a virtual assistant and some marketing support because I just knew I can't go back to doing stuff that feels like drudgery ever again. It sucks the life out of me. And if it sucks the life out of me, it derails the momentum. So, like, it's so hard and so scary and it's so necessary. So it's impressive that you did that. I do want to ask one more, I guess, technical question around the YouTube and the conversion that you're experiencing and how you said they book with me in their sleep. How do you have it set up on YouTube so that it leads them to that call to action? Like, where's the call to action? Is it you speaking it into every video? Like, hey, just click the link below and jump on my calendar. Or is it living there like a link? I mean, how do you get them to take action?
Really good question. And I cannot pinpoint it to one specific call to action or location, but this is what I have. So in my videos now in YouTube, you have to start delivering with value. Like if the most interesting fact of your whole YouTube video is point number 10, put point number 10 in the very, very beginning to hook them. Like it's all about making the first 1 minute just so value packed. So nobody gives a crap who you are. Don't even say your name. Like they see your, they don't care what is in it for them. So anyway, so I put as much value as I can, well, during the whole video, but my call to action, my first one is halfway. Around the halfway mark, that's where I will embed it. It's not going to say, I don't say, and pause, by the way, if you are looking to double your income, join me at EXP. Instead, I could be sharing my screen saying like, these are the checklists that what I have. It's what's helped Nancy double her income, Karina triple her income, and like kind of showing in a way. So it's not like a hard pause, new scene, enter exp, like none of that. And then I'll do a kind of soft call to action. And then what that looks like client facing first for buyers and sellers is embedding a story. So like, and I just helped someone named, Nancy get $16,000 in closing costs and the house appraised for $4,000 more. She purchased in this general area. So I know that the homes in this area, you could probably get a pretty good bang for your buck. Just let me know. Give me a call. My phone number is in the description below. If you want to go ahead and book a call directly, use the Calendly link. I will personally see you on the Zoom. So that's kind of a harder call to action. But then I do a harder call to action at the very, very end where I say the same thing. If this helped at all, I am for hire. You can go ahead and book a call with me. Don't email me because my email is trash. Instead, like, ha ha ha. Instead, book a call with the Calendly link. You're going to answer a couple of intake questions just so I can make sure I'm best prepared. I will see you in the Zoom call. We can start the process from there. Those are my two verbal in each video. And then also subtly, my video editor has like the little pop-up thing that says like the like, subscribe, and comment. Like that pops up every so often, twice, maybe three times in like a 20-minute long video. And then in the description is where I put my Calendly link. I used to have my email. No, I doesn't work for me. I used to have my phone number. I deleted that real quick. No, thank you. Because you just get text messages like paragraphs long saying, I need you right now. And the buyer's not buying till like 2028. And so now I deleted all my phone numbers. The only way to get in touch with me and that's what I say, the only way to contact me is to book a call with the link below. I'll see you there. And that's it. Then just ending the video.
Genius. It's so, so smart. I love it. I'm like so blown away. And honestly, I feel like I could keep asking you questions and keep you here for hours because I'm so impressed with your not just your drive and your dedication and the execution, but really truly your bravery. I mean, the guts that you have to take action in the way that you have and to get the results. I mean, to close over 100 transactions in your first 3 years, 8 months of that working part-time in the military, having almost 100 agents now in your downline in 15 cities in 2 countries. I mean, and you're building a business while living in a different location and you're actually growing your own sales business from anywhere in the world is just fascinating. This is probably one of my most favorite interviews I've ever had.
Thank you so much. Wow, that means a lot. I work my butt off, and like it's to the point where I sometimes forget to live. Not I sometimes. I always forget to live. I struggle with rewarding myself, and so that's why my next short-term goal is to purchase a second home or a vacation home, somewhere tropical, beach, like Puerto Rico or Florida, one of the two, just somewhere like somewhat close to the States, well, obviously Florida's in the States, but somewhere not very, very far. My goal is Thailand. Like I would love, that's my ideal goal, is just to work 2 to 3 hours a day and live in Thailand. Asia calls, Asia's calling my name. But I need to, with like the family stuff that we have now, I need to somehow embed and start rewarding myself because I never, ever, ever reward myself. So that's my goal is by the end of this year, 2025, to purchase some sort of second home, vacation home that I can do working vacations out of and not be surrounded by snow, which is Minnesota. We have to wear, it's June right now. I have to wear a hoodie outside and sweatpants still.
I feel you. Calling here from the mountains of Colorado. We get snow sometimes until June, so I can relate. And I'm really impressed. I loved this conversation. I could go on for hours, but I really want to respect your time, Allie, and just say thank you so much for sharing. There's so many actionable takeaways, and I hope that the listeners feel inspired and empowered to know that every single one of us faces the same fears, and at some point we have to decide enough is enough. And we're not going to settle. We're not going to play small. We're going to design a life we love, powered by a business that we've organized to finance it. And you're doing all the things. And I think it's going to be really fun to watch your star rising in the years to come. I feel certain we are going to be seeing more of you. And this may not be your last time here on the Pursuing Freedom podcast.
Well, this is a blast. Like I love the show that you have. I've binged your podcast. I love it. And I'm looking forward to coming back.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Allie. And if folks are going to find you, follow you, try to get a hold of you, want to learn about EXP, want to pick your brain, where are all the ways to do so?
Even though I tell people not to share their YouTube, I do have for real estate agents, I do have a pretty good channel, if I might say so myself. It's Allie the Agent. I'm Allie the Agent on everywhere. Allie spelled ALI. So Instagram, Allie the Agent, YouTube, Allie the Agent, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you. And to all the listeners out there, if you've enjoyed this, shoot Allie a DM and let her know what was your takeaway. Send me a DM. We both have podcasts and we record these interviews and hope that someone is out there listening, getting some value. So hearing from you is our favorite thing. It encourages us to keep going. And please take the time to leave the 5-star review, not only for my podcast here, Pursuing Freedom, but also the Agent Goldmine for Allie and Shelby, so that we can continue to help more people access this content, attract amazing guests, and help you on your journey to building a life you don't need a vacation from. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time.